I'm physically and emotionally exhausted from childcare, and this is when I need your support the most. I desperately tried to stop Damian. I'm at my wit's end listening to Sage cry every night. Besides, isn't it the mother's job to raise children? I can do whatever I want. Damian had the nerve to say such things. How cruel. Going on vacation by yourself at such a difficult time. I'll have fun without you. Damian laughed as he threw these words at me and hurried out with his luggage. I tried to chase after him, but I couldn't because I heard Sage crying from the back room. Overwhelmed with sadness and misery, I broke down crying right there. I haven't been working all this time just to support this deadbeat husband. I wanted to build a life together, supporting each other as a couple. But it seems Damian has no intention of working anymore. On top of that, he casually took my credit card from my wallet and used it like it was his right. I'm sick of being taken advantage of by someone as sneaky as Damian. I pulled myself together and started thinking about how to make things most difficult for him. My name is Glenna, and I'm 34 years old. I've been working continuously at a major corporation since I joined. I met my husband Damian at a bar I often visited after work. He was working there as a bartender. Damian is 6 years younger than me, currently 28. He was handsome and friendly, always listening sympathetically to my work complaints. Before I knew it, I looked forward to going to Damian's bar after work. Eventually, we started dating, but my parents opposed our marriage. They tried hard to convince me to date someone from my company instead. But I was determined. Right after we got married, Damian helped with various household chores. Since his work started in the evening, he would do the laundry and cleaning while he was home during the day. "Glenna, you're busy, so I'll make dinner today," Damian would say, showing consideration for my hectic schedule. When I came home, Damian's cooking would be laid out on the table. I felt genuinely grateful that I had married him. However, about 6 months into our marriage, Damian started to change. The trigger was my pay stub. One day, Damian happened to see my pay stub on the table and said, "Hey, Glenna. Do you really make this much?" Damian stared intently at the stub with a surprised expression. True, I had never told Damian exactly how much I made monthly. "I knew you earned quite a bit, but I never imagined you made this much. I work on my feet all day and barely make anything." Damian muttered discontentedly to me while clasping his hands behind his head. Then one day, Damian suddenly said to me, "I quit my job." What? I was shocked. He quit his job without consulting me, his wife, at all. "Honestly, my earnings are nothing compared to your salary, and I figured we could live on just your income. I'll focus on the housework, so you can throw yourself into your job." I was speechless. Actually, that day, I wasn't feeling well and had just confirmed with a pregnancy test from the pharmacy. The result was positive. I had planned to tell Damian about the pregnancy that day. "Actually, I'm pregnant." What? Damian seemed very surprised by this sudden news. "I found out today with a test. I'll have to take maternity leave for a while, so I'm a bit worried about you quitting your job." I honestly shared my concerns with Damian, despite my confusion. He immediately replied, "But your company pays maternity benefits, right?" Well, yes. My mind was in chaos. Even after telling him about the pregnancy, Damian showed no signs of joy and only kept asking how much money I would receive from the company during maternity leave. Damian insisted, "I'll take care of all the housework. I'll take care of the baby too. You just need to focus on bringing home your salary." Though his words might sound kind, something didn't sit right with me. I was aware of the income gap between Damian and myself. But I never imagined I would end up supporting Damian completely. I could feel my distrust in him growing. Hospital tests confirmed that I was indeed pregnant. I worked hard until just before my maternity leave while battling morning sickness. Meanwhile, Damian became a house husband and was always at home, but he gradually stopped doing housework. When I came home from work, the house was a mess. Dirty dishes piled up in the kitchen, left unwashed. Though Damian said, "Welcome home," he lay on the sofa and wouldn't move from his phone. "I'm home." "Damian, what about dinner?" "I already ate at the local diner." "Sorry, but you can heat up some frozen food." Damian said this while pointing to the freezer. Exhausted from work and hungry, I didn't even have the energy to argue with him, so I just heated up frozen food as suggested that day. Time passed, and eventually I entered my maternity leave period. Once I was home all the time, Damian did even less. When I asked him to do more housework, he would say, "You're home now too, so it's weird if I'm the only one doing housework," and storm out angrily. While our marriage continued to deteriorate this way, fortunately, the baby in my belly grew steadily. Eventually, I reached full term and gave birth to a healthy baby girl, whom we named Sage. After the birth, my mother came to our house to help out. I have an older sister named Natalee. Natalee is already married and lives in an apartment with her husband Kain. They don't have children, and Natalee is a housewife. One day, Natalee came to visit our house alone. "Congratulations on the baby, Glenna." Natalee brought a gift to celebrate my baby's birth. "Oh, she's so cute." Natalee happily held and gazed at Sage. Damian watched Natalee with a smirk. I felt uncomfortable. Compared to plain, work-focused me, Natalee was a striking beauty with the charm to captivate men. Every time Natalee came to our house, Damian would act lovesick and hover around her. "It's hot today." "My throat is so dry," Natalee said, and Damian rushed to the refrigerator, poured juice in a glass, and brought it to her. "Here, have some juice." "My, Damian, you're so thoughtful." I wish my husband was this considerate. Saying this, Natalee drank the juice in one go. Damian stood there with a shy smile, not leaving Natalee's side. After Sage was born, Natalee started coming to our house frequently. Each time, Damian would happily chat with her. Yet he completely ignored me, exhausted from taking care of Sage. A few months after Sage was born, her night crying had gotten worse lately. I was unsteady from lack of sleep. Damian grew increasingly irritated with Sage, who wouldn't stop crying. Shut up. I'm going crazy staying in this house all the time." I felt angry at Damian, who would yell such things. "If you hate being at home so much, why don't you go work? Lately you barely do any housework, and you don't help with Sage at all." Then Damian glared at me and shot back, "We can live fine on your maternity benefits, so why should I bother working?" I realized it then. Damian had no intention of working anymore. He had completely become a parasite. With Sage, we're going to need more and more money going forward. It's unacceptable for a father to just lounge around without working or helping with housework. I yelled angrily at Damian. Then Damian silently headed for the entrance. Wait, Damian, where are you going? To Natalee's place, Damian muttered while putting on his shoes. What? I was shocked. Why would he go to Natalee's place after fighting with me? That night, Damian emailed me saying I'm staying at Natalee's place tonight. When I called Natalee, she laughed and said, "Don't worry about it. All couples fight sometimes." Then the next day, Damian came back. When I approached him to talk things out, Damian was busily packing something. Damian, what are you doing? What do you mean? Preparing for a trip. What, a trip? I was so surprised I didn't know where to start with my questions. I've been mentally ill from stress lately, right? When I told Natalee about it, she suggested we all go on a trip to cheer up. But, where are you going? Canada. We're going to eat lots of good seafood and stuff. We'll be gone for 2 nights and 3 days. My head was spinning from this sudden development. Don't tell me you're going just with Natalee? I asked anxiously. Of course not, Kain's coming too, Damian answered with a laugh. I'm physically and emotionally exhausted from childcare, and this is when I need your support the most. I desperately tried to stop Damian. I'm at my wit's end listening to Sage cry every night. Besides, isn't it the mother's job to raise children? I can do whatever I want. Damian had the nerve to say such things. How cruel. Going on a trip with Natalee and them at such a difficult time. I'll have fun without you. Damian laughed as he threw these words at me and hurried out with his luggage. I tried to chase after him, but I couldn't because I heard Sage crying from the back room. I immediately called Natalee. Sorry. But everyone needs a break when they're mentally drained, right? I checked and found some available seats, and we managed to get round-trip tickets. Kain can take 3 days off work, so we're going on a quick trip to Canada. Oh, the taxi's here to pick us up. Bye. Wait, Natalee. Natalee hung up before I could finish talking. I stood there dumbfounded for a while, but then something occurred to me. Damian doesn't have any money of his own, so how does he plan to go to Canada? I had a sudden realization and checked my wallet. It wasn't there. My credit card that should have been in my wallet was gone. My company provides gold cards to employees and covers the annual fee. That card had disappeared from my wallet. I called Damian. Damian. You took my gold card without permission. I just borrowed it while you were in the bathroom. We're actually in the gold card members lounge at the airport right now. We're about to have some champagne. Damian answered in a relaxed voice. Taking someone's card without asking is theft. I shouted angrily. Ha, theft? I've been living off your income anyway, right? Using your credit card is just doing what I always do. No need to get so angry about it. See ya. With that, Damian hung up. I couldn't believe it. Next to me, Sage started crying again. Looking around the house, it was cluttered and messy, with things scattered everywhere. I was exhausted from constantly taking care of Sage. Yet here was Damian, going on a trip to Canada with Natalee and them. This is ridiculous. I broke down crying, feeling utterly miserable. That's right, I should contact the credit card company and request to cancel the card. I hurriedly looked up the company's contact information. But wait. I thought for a while. Then I decided not to make the call. For these 2 days, I'll let him freely use the card. Then, I'll request to cancel it at the moment when it will trouble Damian the most. On the 3rd day after they went to Canada, I explained the situation to the credit card company and had them block all card payments. Immediately, Damian called me. It seemed they had arrived at the airport early after checking out of their hotel. We were in the Gold Card members' lounge at the Canadian airport, but security suddenly approached us and kicked us out. What's going on? Damian called in a panic. Well, you're not a Gold Card member to begin with, so it's natural that inappropriate people would be kicked out, isn't it? I answered calmly. Glenna, don't tell me you made the card unusable? Damian asked nervously. Yes, that's right, I answered briefly. You're kidding. Wait a minute. I'm being taken to some kind of interrogation room at the airport. They're grabbing my arm and escorting me. Damian was kind enough to give me a play-by-play report. Well, when someone who's not the cardholder uses it fraudulently, of course they'll be stopped, I replied. Hey, this isn't funny. At this rate, I won't be able to return to Japan. Damian seemed to be having all his belongings checked and inspected. I couldn't stop chuckling. According to Damian, Natalee and Kain were also being questioned in separate rooms. Apparently, Damian had paid for all of Natalee and Kain's travel expenses with my credit card. I was surprised to hear this. I couldn't believe he had paid for their expenses with my card too. Soon, Natalee called me. Hey, Glenna, thanks to you, we're being detained at the Canadian airport. Natalee accused me. Natalee, I had no idea. I didn't know he was using my credit card to cover your travel expenses too. Well, Damian came to us for help because he was at his limit, so Kain and I had no choice but to accompany him on this Canada trip. We just went along to help cheer him up, so isn't it natural for his wife to pay for the expenses? I was dumbfounded. Natalee was completely shameless. She had apparently let Damian pay for all their shopping and food expenses with my card too. Glenna, make the card usable right now. No. When I refused, Natalee raised her voice in anger. What's your problem? You're just a plain woman who's only good at working, and you had the nerve to have a baby before me. Stop being difficult and make the card usable right now. You must have plenty of savings anyway. Natalee said such shocking, horrible things to me. But this must be her true feelings. Because Natalee was prettier and always pampered by others, she had always looked down on plain old me. It seems she wasn't really happy that I had a baby before her. The voice on the phone suddenly changed to Kain. Hello, Glenna? This is Kain. I'm truly sorry about all this. Natalee lied to me. She told me, Glenna is begging us to go on a trip with Damian to help relieve his stress, and she'll cover all the costs. I was shocked. I couldn't believe Natalee would tell Kain such an outrageous lie. I'm going to buy my own airline ticket and return alone, Kain stated firmly. I could hear a panicked Natalee making a fuss in the background. What do you mean you're going back alone, Kain? Exactly what I said. I have my own credit card and cash, so I'll buy a ticket and go back. Wait. Why are you going back alone? Buy tickets for me and Damian too. Otherwise, we can't get back. Natalee angrily said to Kain. Damian seemed to join in, as I could hear his loud voice. Yes, Kain, please. Please buy our tickets too. Damian was shouting his plea to Kain. No, I refuse. I was surprised to hear Kain's words. Sure, I hated Damian and Natalee for using my credit card without permission. But I couldn't understand why Kain would treat them so coldly. Then Kain said to me, Glenna, please stay calm and listen. Damian and Natalee are having an affair. What? I was completely shocked by Kain's sudden revelation. Apparently, Kain had recently become suspicious of how close Natalee and Damian had become. One day, when Kain returned from work, he smelled the cologne that Damian always wore and thought it was strange. The scent had even drifted into the bedroom, which made Kain suspicious. However, he didn't have definitive proof of their affair. When they invited me to go on this Canada trip with them, I thought, I'll pretend I don't notice anything and go along, then catch them in the act of their affair. Like Kain, I had been troubled by how close Damian and Natalee were. Though I had my doubts about Damian, I never thought he would actually have an affair. As for Natalee, I thought she wouldn't get romantically involved with her sister's husband. Even if Damian made advances, I thought Natalee would reject him. I had somehow trusted her. But that trust was completely betrayed. On the first night of the trip, around 3 a.m., Natalee got up from bed, left the room, and went into Damian's room right across the hall. I saw it with my own eyes, Kain said. I was shocked by his words. Natalee, I deliberately pretended to be sound asleep, but the moment the door closed, I ran to it and looked through the peephole into the hallway. That's when I saw you entering Damian's room. Damian welcomed you in with his arm around your shoulder, Kain said, his voice tinged with anger. No, that's not, but Kain, you were snoring and fast asleep. Natalee frantically said to Kain. I was acting. I figured if I pretended to be sound asleep snoring, you would sneak out of the room and eventually go to Damian. My prediction was spot on. Natalee was making excuses next to Kain. Damian came to our place so often, and each time Natalee would welcome him with heavy makeup, looking so happy. Did you think I wouldn't notice such behavior? Don't underestimate me. Kain exploded in anger. Both Natalee and Damian seemed to fall silent in front of the furious Kain. About an hour later, you came back to the room and casually went to sleep next to me. It's absolutely ridiculous. Having an affair with your brother-in-law. On the second night, you snuck out of the room and came back 2 hours later. Did you think you got away with it because you weren't caught on the first day? What, Kain, you were awake then too. Natalee's voice was trembling. Yes, I was awake. Though I was pretending to be sound asleep. Going on a trip with your husband and having an affair with your brother-in-law, what kind of person does that? Damian, I won't forgive you either. Kain, well, how should I say this, Damian mumbled something but couldn't deny it. Kain said to me, I'm going to buy my own ticket and go back. I plan to leave these two here. Is that okay with you, Glenna? Of course. Please do that. Damian, Natalee, you two can live happily together in Canada. Don't ever come back here. When I said this laughing, Damian begged loudly, please, Glenna. Just send us money for the airline tickets, please. Damian, since you used to be a bartender, why don't you try getting hired at an airport bar? Natalee's good at flirting with men, so she can work as a hostess out front, I answered with a laugh. And so, Kain returned safely by himself. Kain and I made an agreement to execute a certain plan. Both Kain and I proceeded with what needed to be done, working around our jobs. Eventually, both Damian and Natalee begged their parents for help with airline tickets and somehow managed to return a few days later. Damian called me from the airport after returning to his apartment. Glenna, what's going on? I came home but I can't get in because the key doesn't work. And there's a vacancy sign on the door. Damian seemed to be in a panic and said this to me frantically. Oh, I canceled the lease on that apartment, I replied. What? Damian seemed frozen in shock. That apartment was leased in my name. I can do whatever I want with it, I responded matter-of-factly. What about my belongings? I disposed of everything. After all, you didn't have anything worth much, nothing the second-hand dealers would even buy. What are you talking about? You're kidding, right? Damian's voice was shaking. You have the minimal belongings you took to Canada, right? That should be enough. You can sleep rough anywhere. Sleep rough. Glenna, where are you now? I'm not telling you. I've moved and am living peacefully with Sage in a new apartment, I said with a laugh. I'll return your credit card. Please, meet with me. Damian kept begging to meet. That card has long been cancelled. There's no point in getting it back, I answered coldly. I deliberately let you use the card freely until partway through so that I could saddle you with debt after the divorce, I explained. Divorce? Debt? Yes. Taking your wife's card without permission and using large amounts of money unauthorized, the court should grant a divorce quickly with that evidence. Damian stammered nervously, wait, I don't want a divorce. I have no house and no money, how am I supposed to live? Well, that's not my problem. I've decided to work hard and raise Sage by myself from now on. Hey, Glenna, listen, I was wrong, I'm sorry. I don't want a divorce. I hung up the phone, ignoring Damian's desperate pleas. Meanwhile, Natalee also seemed to be in a panic after losing her home. Kain, where are you? I can't get into the apartment, where am I supposed to sleep tonight? Please, help me. Natalee apparently tried to cling to Kain. I sold that apartment. I'm divorcing you. From now on, all communication will be through my lawyer. Don't contact me directly anymore. Goodbye. Wait. Please, Kain. The thing with Damian, he forced himself on me and I had no choice but to go along with it. You're the only one I love. Oh really? For someone who was so forced, you looked pretty happy going into his room. Throughout the trip, you were constantly talking with Damian. Do you have any idea how miserable that made me feel? I don't even want to speak to someone as despicable as you. After that, Natalee was blocked by Kain and had no way to contact him. And so, Damian and Natalee, who had finally returned from Canada, ended up wandering the streets with their travel bags, with no home to return to. Later, I divorced Damian through a lawyer's mediation. I demanded compensation from both Damian and Natalee. Damian was also ordered to repay all the money he spent using my credit card. Kain and Natalee also divorced, and he demanded compensation from both Natalee and Damian. Damian and Natalee, both abandoned, apparently found a place to live together. It was a rundown apartment building about 40 years old. Damian wandered looking for work but couldn't find employment easily. He ended up doing day labor jobs at construction sites and moving companies. Meanwhile, Natalee also tried to find work to earn income, but having been a housewife all this time, she had trouble getting hired. Eventually, she started working at a pub. However, Damian became furious, saying, "Stop working in a job serving men." Natalee shot back, "Weren't you a bartender before?" and it escalated into a huge fight. Though they were so attracted to each other during their affair, after a vicious exchange of insults, they now apparently live separately. Both have become completely worn down, living lives without money or hope. As for me, I got custody of Sage and started life as a single mother. I applied for and was granted childcare leave from my company, so I can raise Sage in a financially stable situation. When it's time to return to work, I plan to put Sage in daycare and manage somehow with my mother's help. Currently, Sage is growing healthily every day. I take Sage in the stroller to the nearby park and live peacefully while interacting with people in the community. Though there are many challenges, I intend to fully enjoy this precious, unhurried time with Sage that I'll never have again. And when I return to work, I'll do my best to earn a good income again. That's what I think as I spend my days with Sage.